Hi, I'm David Tracy with the Autopian, and today I'm going to drive the 2023 Ford Bronco Raptor on this trail. And if you don't see a trail, because it's not a normal trail, look at this. It's a boulder field. Okay, you see this trail that we can barely walk down comfortably? This is what the Bronco Raptors are going on. This trail, there are parts of this trail where a normal person would look at it and say, okay, well, the trail just ended. But actually, that's just a wall you have to go over. Actually, I'll show you it, the big one. You can see the green truck there. It's a tricky section. There's a big boulder on his left that he's kicking around right now. How? How is that even possible? I don't think anyone was asking for something more hardcore than the base Ford Bronco, and yet Ford is here with the Raptor version with 418 horsepower, standard humongous 37-inch tires, and over 13 inches of suspension travel. All right, I'm about to get into this thing for the first time, and it's huge. Like, I'm 5'8" on like a warm day, and this is huge. Here, come on, get in, let's go for a ride. Look at that car in front of us, the Volkswagen Golf. It looks like it is non-existent. This thing is so huge. Look, watch me pull up to the back of this BMW. We could drive over its trunk, I bet. It's just laughably tiny. Oh man, it's so great. Oh, it makes you feel powerful. I don't know if I need this in my life. I don't know. And on the normal Bronco, you have the hood, those little sort of flags there on the corners of the hood. And on the normal Bronco, they help you figure out, okay, this is how wide the truck is. On this thing, those are irrelevant, because the width is another like 9 inches to the left and 9 inches to the right. So you just kind of have to pay attention, I guess. Anyway, I'm gonna give it some gas and we're gonna listen to this engine, okay? Over 400 horsepower, but it's not a V8. So Jeep offers a V8 engine in their Wrangler. Ford doesn't. They're all about the EcoBoost, turbocharged V6s. Let's listen to this thing. This thing sounds good, but there's a difference between an engine that sounds good and an engine that sounds powerful. It's a hard thing to explain, but a powerful engine would be like an avalanche coming down a mountain. You feel that bass, that power, whereas this, it's a sound that's nice. It's a pleasant sound, but I don't feel like something is coming after me, And that's the difference between a V8 and a boosted V6. All right, I want to pay attention to something real quick. If you look ahead, I'm going to accelerate, and I want you to look at how much the body will pitch. Ready? See, the nose is coming up. Here comes liftoff, baby. Oh, and then the brake dive when you hit the brakes. Skirt. You see that? Oh, it's fantastic. I love it. I mean, this is the purpose-built off-road vehicle. And as much as I'd like to be a fancy car reviewer and say, oh, the body roll is unacceptable and the brake dive. Nah, it's a freaking purpose-built off-road vehicle. Watch just lift off again. Here comes the nose. Oh, that's so much. Oh, that's so much pitch. Oh, man. What a ridiculous machine. I love that it's ridiculous because in many ways that's not good. Like, it's not good. You don't want brake dive, you don't want pitch, but it makes me feel like, you know what, I'm in a compromised vehicle, and I think tomorrow when we take this thing off-road, I hope we see the other end of those compromises. Ford sent us down some twisty roads to put this big truck to the test. Okay, we've got this canyon road here. I gotta tell you, Ford is bold setting journalists on this road with all these twisty turns. This is the worst car for this. And Ford they are not afraid to send us down. This is a great road though, I have to say. If we were in something that wasn't this might even be fun. But I'm just trying to make sure I don't hit the guardrail on the right side because this thing's so damn wide. I got a cop behind me, probably wondering why I'm going in a sinusoidal pattern. And the body roll is pretty hilarious. Oh my man, a canyon road on 37-inch tires. I would not recommend it. See this? Like I turn in, it's like, okay, watch the front end when I turn in. So there's a lot of stuff that happens. So first you get the tires turn, then the sidewalls deflect some, then the suspension compresses, and the chassis sort of pulls the body with it. There is a delay between turn in and the vehicle actually making the turn. There's this transient response. Pretty hilarious, honestly. It's pretty hilarious. We started day 2 in the middle of the desert with a safety briefing and discussion of the day's events. The plan was to do some absurdly difficult rock crawling on a boulder-filled section of the King of the Hammers off-road course in Johnson Valley, and then we'd do some intense high-speed off-road driving. First, though, we'd hit a few rocky trails to get loose. Finally, the Bronco Raptor was in its element. The canyon roads the prior day had definitely not exhibited the truck's strengths, though there was plenty of roll and squat and dive. I don't want to be dramatic, so I'll say that the vehicle was manageable enough in the turns and the ride was decent. Also, the 10-speed automatic, though it occasionally got confused, managed the 418 horsepower just fine. But this isn't a sports car. This thing was clearly built to off-road. And I saw that immediately on these rocky trails. The 37-inch all-terrain tires stayed planted on impossibly treacherous terrain. With that solid rear axle, a locked Dana 50 with an over 9.25-inch ring gear, flexing like mad. The 68-to-1 crawl ratio meant driving slowly and in a controlled manner over rocks wasn't a problem. To better see what was going on ahead of that tall hood, Ford had spotters out there guiding us with sticks to indicate where we should steer. And we had a fantastic screen with markings showing what those front tires were about to crush. But we still occasionally scraped skid plates or rock sliders, despite the vehicle's over 13 inches of ground clearance. Let's talk about what this thing's been like rock crawling and in high-speed off-road terrain. Look, the fact is when you put 37-inch tires on anything, you make a hole look like you make a huge divot look like a tiny pothole. You make a rock look like a pebble. That's the beauty of a giant tire. So it's pretty smooth. Obviously the suspension is soaking up a lot of the bumps. The tires making those bumps feel small. And rock crawling, good low speed pedal calibration. So I could go as slowly as I want. I never felt like I was lurching over things at a sort of an uncontrolled pace. It's big. I mean, it's wide and you have to keep that in mind, but there's this giant screen there on the dash that they've done a good job calibrating the screen with these tire marks that tell you where the front tires are. So that's pretty much a necessity. Without that, you're just gonna be bashing these flares. Scraped these. If you can unbolt these, of course, these steps. Scraped these a couple times. May have scraped a skid plate once or twice, but it's just so high off the ground. The tires are so big. The lockers are so good, by the way. The lockers, you just click the switch and they're on. You don't have to wait like 10 seconds or, it's great. No, it's been a lot of fun. And for the record, I did not put whatever this is, scratch right here, not me, not me. Then came the main rock crawl event. This was a section of one of the most treacherous, gnarliest off-road races in the whole world, called King of the Hammers. It was legitimately gnarly, and that's coming from an avid off-roader with 15 years of experience. This was no joke. Ford removed the bumper end caps so that we could position the tires onto rocks without touching the bumpers. This, along with the over 47-degree approach angle, the nearly 31-degree breakover angle, and the almost 41-degree departure angle, gave the Broncos the best shot at getting over this terrain. Again, I've been off-roading for a long time, and there were spotters there. I still couldn't believe that Ford was actually going to send us over this. And yet, the Bronco Raptor did it. I mean, and beautifully, without much drama at all. And slowly, I had to use my left foot for left foot braking, but I could control the speed very nicely and maneuver with that steering with a power assist, get it exactly where it needed to be. This was almost like art. It was a beautiful symphony of off-road capability, but it was nothing compared to what I was about to see in the high-speed course. You know things are about to get real when you're throwing on a Hans device, and that's what Ford made us do before hitting the desert for some high-speed runs, to enjoy 13 inches of front and 14 inches of rear suspension travel, and to test out the Fox internal bypass dampers. Okay. You will notice I'm wearing a Hans device and a helmet. That's because I'm off-roading at high speeds. We're about to be on a dry lake bed. I can't see a damn thing. And this is what the Raptor is all about. High-speed off-road driving. You've got independent front suspension with these crazy shocks. And they're designed to maximize wheel travel and to keep all of these undulations on this road from getting to your butt, and it's doing a great job. I'm driving over 40 miles an hour on this dirt, and it's just relatively smooth. That fun little desert trail took us to a dry lake bed where Ford had set up a little rallycross course. There would be slaloms, there was braking, there was a lot of tail out goodness and roaring from that 3-liter turbocharged V6. Okay, set full throttle. You ready? Go. Okay, get ready for brakes. Okay, brakes work. All right, let's go, baby. Oh, stability control's kicking in. Definitely. Oh, this is great. Oh, we're kicking it out a little bit. Oh God, that was not good. It's definitely slippery. Oh God. Revving that Bronco Raptor up to high speeds on that dry lake bed was epic. But what I really was looking forward to was high speed, rough desert terrain driving, and that's what I was up to next. Okay, now we're gonna do the big rally course, and it's about to get real. Oh, here we go! Jeez. This is a monster. Oh my gosh. Going about 55 miles an hour, and that is not slow. The footage is never going to do it justice, but trust me when I say this off-road course was filled with holes deeper than any Detroit pothole you've ever seen. Anything that might look like an uncomfortable amount of cabin jostling is just a result of me hitting a humongous hole traveling far too fast. But not too fast to be a problem, because even then the Bronco Raptor could handle it all. The high travel suspension danced below my feet and turned violence into tranquility, sending my foot farther and farther towards the floorboard, opening my eyes wider and wider with astonishment. You just see things that you should not be able to go over. I just want to point out there is an electrical engineer here, a control systems engineer at Ford, whose job is literally to jump the Bronco Raptor. That's literally his job. That's pretty absurd. There he comes, actually. There he is. All right, so I just drove the Bronco Raptor for a couple of days, and the question we got to ask ourselves is, what sacrifices are you willing to live with? Is the size something you can live with? Is the 15 miles per gallon combined something you can live with? Is the on-road handling and ride something that you can live with? Really, the question you got to ask is the compromise worth the gains? And the gains are so substantial, the off-road capability is so high, the satisfaction you feel when you get close to that ridiculously high off-road ceiling is just immense. So, as an avid off-roader, I think it's absolutely freaking epic.